For the past 11 years, I have been tracking food prices, sitting in distributor meetings, and watching supply chains crack in real time. And while everyone is panic buying the same 10 items every prepper blog tells them to stockpile, I have been quietly loading my pantry with 17 specific foods that almost nobody is paying attention to. Number 9 is sitting at your local ethnic grocery store right now for under $4 and contains more complete nutrition than anything in the freeze-dried section. The problem is that when everyone reads the same emergency prep guides and buys the same stuff, that is exactly what disappears first. Back in March 2020, I watched rice and beans get cleared out in 2 hours at every major store in my area. But there were 7 other staples, just as calorie-dense, just as shelf-stable, sitting fully stocked the next day. Nobody touched them because nobody knew to look. By 2026, food economists are projecting price surges we have not seen since the 1970s. But you are not going to be fighting crowds for the last bag of overpriced pasta if you make the right moves now. If you are tired of generic prepping advice, hit that subscribe button right now, because I only share what actually works from real experience, not theory. Look, inflation is eating grocery budgets faster than most families can adjust. I have done the math for you and put together a free emergency pantry blueprint that lists the exact items you need to feed a family of 4 for 3 weeks, which you can buy from any standard grocery store. It costs less than 2 tanks of gas and actually tastes good, not like cardboard survival rations. You can grab it for free at the link in the description so you can stop panicking every time you see a news alert and start building real food security. Number 1 is going to sound boring until you understand what it actually does. White rice. Before you roll your eyes thinking this is obvious, hear me out. Most people buy a 20-pound bag and think they are set. They are not. Here is what nobody talks about. White rice stored properly in a food-grade bucket with oxygen absorbers will outlast you. Not 5 years. Not 10 years. Longer than you, or I will be alive. I opened a sealed bucket last fall that I packed in 2011. Tasted identical to fresh. But here is the kicker. Everyone buying jasmine or basmati is overpaying by 60%. Buy the cheapest long-grain white rice you can find. A 50-pound bag at a restaurant supply store costs $18. That is 400 servings. Meanwhile, people are spending $200 on freeze-dried rice that reconstitutes into mush. And when the next shortage hits, the fancy rice disappears first. The cheap bulk stuff? Still there. Stock at least 100 pounds per person. It is the cheapest calorie insurance you will ever buy. Number 2 is absolute gold, and almost nobody outside certain communities knows about it. Ghee, not butter. Ghee. This is clarified butter with all the milk solids removed, which means it does not need refrigeration. I have jars in my pantry that are 4 years old. Still perfect. Here is why this matters. Your body needs fat. Not wants. Needs. Most survival foods are carb-heavy, and your brain will start dragging without dietary fat. A tablespoon of ghee in your rice or beans changes everything. It makes food taste real, not like famine rations. You can buy a 16-ounce jar at any Indian grocery store for $7. At regular supermarkets, it is $14 for half that size. And here's the thing. During shortages, butter and oil get hoarded immediately. Ghee? Still sitting there because most people have never heard of it. Stock 12 jars minimum. It will save your sanity when everything else tastes like cardboard. This one sounds weird, but stay with me. Number 3 is nutritional yeast. Before you click away thinking this is vegan hippie food, let me tell you what it actually is. This is deactivated yeast that tastes like cheese and nuts. 1/4 cup gives you a full day's worth of B vitamins, including B12, which is almost impossible to get from shelf-stable plant foods. Last winter, I lost power for 9 days. No fridge, no way to keep cheese or milk. I made a cheese sauce with nutritional yeast, ghee, and powdered milk. My kids had no idea it was not real cheese. You can buy a pound at any health food store or bulk section for $12. That is 60 servings. And because it is niche, it never gets panic bought. I walked into 3 stores during the pandemic, and every shelf was stripped except the nutritional yeast section. Untouched. Buy at least 2 pounds. You will thank me when food monotony starts driving you insane. Number 4 is sitting in the international aisle, and nobody is looking at it. Canned coconut milk. Full fat. Not the carton stuff. The canned stuff. Here is what makes this a game changer. One can has 1,000 calories. Most canned goods give you 200 to 400. This is pure fat and medium-chain triglycerides that your body can convert to energy fast. I use it in soups, in coffee, in rice, in everything. A 13-ounce can cost $1.50 at Asian markets. Compare that to freeze-dried milk powder at $40 a pouch. And here's the thing. Canned coconut milk has a 5-year shelf life, sometimes longer. I found a can in the back of my pantry from 2018. Opened it last month. Still good. Most people do not even know it exists as a pantry staple. Stock at least 24 cans. When dairy prices spike or supply gets tight, you will still have creamy, calorie-dense food. Number 5 is so cheap and so ignored it makes me crazy. Dried lentils. Not the trendy green ones. Red lentils. Here's why. Red lentils cook in 15 minutes with no soaking. Every other bean or legume takes hours. In a power situation where you are conserving fuel, this is everything. 1 pound of red lentils costs $2 at any grocery store. That is 11 servings of complete protein when you pair it with rice. I made a massive pot of lentil stew during a winter storm 2 years ago. 1 pot fed my family for 3 days. Cost me $6 in ingredients. And here's the thing. When people panic buy, they grab black beans and kidney beans. Red lentils? Fully stocked. Nobody thinks about them. Buy at least 25 pounds. Store them in a sealed container, and they will last 10 years minimum. This next one blows people's minds when I tell them. Number 6 is instant mashed potato flakes. I know what you are thinking. Gross. Fake food. Wrong. Here is what instant potato flakes actually are. Real potatoes that have been cooked, mashed, and dehydrated. That is it. No weird chemicals. And they last 15 years in the package. But here is why they are genius. You can use them as a thickener for soups, a binder for patties, a base for casseroles, and obviously as mashed potatoes. A 4-pound box costs $8 at warehouse stores. That is 50 servings. I went through a power outage last spring and made potato soup on a camp stove in 10 minutes. Just boiling water and potato flakes. My kids devoured it. And when the next crisis hits, people are not fighting over potato flakes. They are fighting over fresh potatoes that rot in a week. Stock at least 3 big boxes. Number 7 is one of the most versatile things in my pantry, and it costs almost nothing. Bouillon cubes, not the liquid broth in cartons. Cubes. 1 cube mixed in hot water makes a cup of broth. You can flavor rice, beans, soups, anything. A box of 25 cubes costs $3. That is 25 meals of flavor for $3. Compare that to freeze-dried meals at $12 each. Here is what I do. I keep chicken, beef, and vegetable bouillon cubes in rotation. Last year during a winter storm, I made vegetable soup with nothing but dried lentils, potato flakes, and a bouillon cube. Tasted like real food, not survival rations. And when people panic buy, they are grabbing canned soup. Nobody is clearing out the bouillon cube shelf. Stock at least 4 boxes of each flavor. They last indefinitely. This one surprises everyone. Number 8 is canned tomato paste. Not diced tomatoes. Not sauce. Paste. Here's why. Tomato paste is concentrated. 1 small 6-ounce can is the equivalent of a pound of fresh tomatoes. You can make soup, sauce, chili, curry, anything. A can cost 80 cents. I bought a case of 24 cans last year for $18. That is enough tomato base for 24 meals. And here is the insider detail. Canned tomato paste has a 5-year printed date. But I have used cans that were 7 years old. Still perfect. Most people buy diced tomatoes and run out of room fast. Tomato paste is compact, cheap, and never out of stock during a shortage. Buy at least 24 cans. Number 9 is sitting at your local Asian or Middle Eastern grocery store, and it is an absolute steal. Dried chickpeas. Not canned. Dried. Here is what makes them better. A 1 pound bag of dried chickpeas costs $2 and gives you 12 servings. Canned chickpeas are $1.50 per can for 3 servings. You're paying 5 times more for water and a tin. I soak chickpeas overnight and cook them in a pressure cooker in 30 minutes. You can make hummus, stew, roast them for snacks, anything. I did the math. A 25-pound bag at a restaurant supply store is $22. That is 300 servings of protein. Show me a freeze-dried meal plan that comes close to that value. You can't. And when panic buying starts, dried chickpeas are invisible to most people. Stock at least 20 pounds. Number 10 is a powerhouse that almost no one talks about. Peanut butter powder. Not regular peanut butter. Powdered. Here is the difference. Powdered peanut butter has a fat removed, which means it lasts way longer. A regular jar of peanut butter can go rancid after a year. Powdered lasts 5 years or more. A 2-pound container costs $12. You mix 2 tablespoons with water, and you have peanut butter. Or you can add it to oatmeal, smoothies, or baking. I used it during a camping trip last year, and my kids could not tell the difference. And here's the kicker. During shortages, peanut butter is one of the first things to disappear. Powdered peanut butter? Still fully stocked because it is niche. Buy at least 3 containers. This one is my secret weapon. Number 11 is dried seaweed. Nori sheets, kombu, wakame, any of it. Here is what nobody knows. Just 1 sheet of nori contains more iodine than most people get in an entire week. Iodine is critical for thyroid function, and it is almost impossible to get from non-seafood shelf-stable foods. A 50-pack of nori sheets costs $8 at any Asian grocery. I crumble them into soups, rice, salads, everything. My kids eat nori sheets as snacks. And during the pandemic, I walked past fully stocked shelves of seaweed while everything else was empty. Nobody knew what to do with it. Stock at least 100 sheets. It lasts for years and takes up almost no space. Number 12 is going to sound too simple, but it is genius. Salt, not table salt. Sea salt or kosher salt in bulk. Here is why. Salt is a preservative, a flavor enhancer, and a survival necessity. Your body cannot function without sodium. A 25-pound bag of sea salt costs $15 at restaurant supply stores. That is enough for a decade. I use it for cooking, preserving vegetables, curing meat, everything. And here's the thing. In past shortages, regular table salt disappears fast. Bulk sea salt, never out of stock, because most people do not think to buy it in volume. Buy at least 1 25-pound bag and store it somewhere dry. This one is pure genius and dirt cheap. Number 13 is vinegar. White distilled vinegar in gallon jugs. A gallon costs $3. It never goes bad, ever. You can use it for pickling, preserving, cleaning, cooking, everything. I made pickled vegetables last summer with just vinegar, salt, and cucumbers. They lasted for months. Vinegar is also a disinfectant. During shortages, cleaning supplies vanish. Vinegar does not. And from a food perspective, it makes bland survival food taste real. A splash in beans or soup wakes everything up. Stock at least 3 gallons. Number 14 is compact, calorie-dense, and almost never gets bought out. Dried dates. Not fresh. Dried. A 1-pound bag costs $5 and gives you 1,200 calories of pure natural sugar, fiber, and potassium. I keep dates in my car, my pantry, everywhere. They last for years. Last summer, I was stuck in a power outage, and dates kept my energy up when I had no way to cook. They are nature's energy bar. And when people panic buy, they are grabbing candy and chips. Dates? Fully stocked. Buy at least 5 pounds. This is one of the smartest foods you can stockpile, and it is sitting in the baking aisle. Number 15 is powdered milk. Not refrigerated milk. Powdered. A 4-pound bag costs $15 and makes 5 gallons of milk. It lasts for years unopened. I use it in coffee, oatmeal, baking, everything. During the pandemic, fresh milk was getting rationed. Powdered milk? Untouched. Most people do not know how to use it or do not trust it. I mixed some last week that was 3 years old. Tasted fine. Buy at least 2 large bags. Number 16 is the ultimate comfort food and lasts forever. Honey. Raw honey in a jar. Honey never goes bad. Archaeologists found 3,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs that was still edible. A 5-pound jar cost $20. You can use it for sweetness, energy, wound care, everything. I put honey in tea, oatmeal, baking, anywhere I need sweetness without refined sugar. And here's the thing. During shortages, sugar gets hoarded. Honey is usually still available because it is expensive and people do not think of it as essential. Buy at least 2 large jars. The last one is my all-time favorite, and it is so underrated. Number 17 is rolled oats. Not instant. Oatmeal packets. Bulk rolled oats. A 25-pound bag costs $18 at restaurant supply stores. That is 200 servings. Oats last 10 years in a sealed container. You can make oatmeal, granola, bread, energy bars, anything. I eat oats almost every day. During a winter storm 2 years ago, I made oatmeal on a camp stove in 5 minutes, filling, warm, and cost me 20 cents. And when shortages hit, people grab instant oatmeal packets. Bulk oats? Still there. Buy at least 25 pounds. I want to dive deeper into why the specific list of foods works and why the standard prepper playbook fails. The core issue is accessibility and long-term sustainability. Most people prep for a 72-hour event, maybe a week. But what happens when supply chain disruption lasts a month, 6 months, or longer? You can't live off canned chili and beef jerky forever, both of which are expensive and have a relatively short shelf life. My approach is about building a deep, diverse pantry that cycles naturally into your everyday cooking, which is a definition of true food security. Let's talk about the silent killer of all prepping, food fatigue. When you are stuck eating the same bland, carb-heavy meals, rice and black beans every single day, your mental state plummets. This is where my list excels. Take that cheap bulk rice, number 1, and suddenly it becomes infinitely versatile. Add a spoonful of ghee, number 2, and it's rich and satisfying. Toss in some nutritional yeast, number 3, and you have a cheesy side dish. Mix in canned coconut milk, number 4, and you have a base for a curry. You've taken one staple and created 4 entirely different meals using other long-term storage items, all without opening a single freeze-dried packet. The items on this list are also chosen because they are global commodities, not just local trends. Think about it. Rice, lentils, chickpeas, coconut milk, salt, honey, oats. These are staple foods for billions of people worldwide. This means 2 things for prepper. First, they are produced in massive quantities, which keeps the price low even when other niche products spike. Second, they are constantly restocked in a huge variety of stores, not just your local big box, but every ethnic market, small bodega, and restaurant supply house. When the general population flocks to the one aisle they know, you can go to 3 other stores and find what you need fully stocked because you are looking for products that are foundational to a dozen different global cuisines. Consider the power of protein diversity. Everyone is obsessed with canned tuna and jerky, but those are finite, expensive, and require a lot of space. My list leverages 3 powerful plant-based proteins that are dirt cheap and store forever. Red lentils, number 5, dried chickpeas, number 9, and bulk rolled oats, number 17. Lentils cook fast and provide that instant comfort. Chickpeas are versatile, hummus, stews, roasted snacks. Oats, beyond breakfast, are a binder, a thickener, and an essential filler. Combined, these 3 items provide far more long-term, complete protein nutrition than relying solely on processed meats. And their price per calorie ratio is unbeatable. When you're feeding a family for months, not days, that efficiency is the difference between surviving comfortably and running out of resources. Another thing standard prepping advice ignores is the nutrient vacuum in most shelf-stable food. You can survive on rice and beans, but you won't thrive. That's why I included nutritional yeast, number 3, for B12 and iodine-rich seaweed, number 11. These items are micronutrient bombs that prevent the slow, insidious decline of health that comes from prolonged nutrient deficiency. Iodine deficiency, for example, cripples cognitive function and metabolism. Most preppers only focus on calories, but if you can't think clearly because your B vitamin levels are crashing, you're in trouble. These two niche items provide essential insurance for your physical and mental health, yet they cost next to nothing and nobody else is buying them. Let's revisit fat and flavor. Ghee, number 2, and canned coconut milk, number 4, are your fuel and flavor agents. A body can only process so many carbohydrates before it starts craving fat for energy and satiety. These aren't just calories. They are high-quality, long-storing fats that make food taste good. When you're stressed, a bowl of bland mush is depressing. A creamy, rich, flavorful meal is a massive morale booster. That is a survival tool as important as any physical tool. Flavor boosters like bouillon cubes, number 7, salt, number 12, and vinegar, number 13, are also absolutely critical. A dash of vinegar brightens a dull pot of lentils. A bouillon cube transforms plain water into a comforting broth. These inexpensive, compact items are what turn stored food into actual meals. Finally, we have the concept of shelf rotation through utility. The items I recommend are not emergency food you buy once and hope you never open. They are the building blocks of global cuisine. You should be using the bouillon cubes, the red lentils, the ghee, the coconut milk, and the rolled oats in your normal weekly cooking. When you buy a new bag of oats, you move the oldest bag forward and use it first. This ensures nothing ever goes to waste, your stock is always fresh, and you are constantly replenishing your supply without major financial hits. It makes prepping a sustainable lifestyle, not a frantic panic event. By focusing on these 17 diverse, high-value, low-cost staples, you aren't just surviving the next shortage. You're insulating your grocery budget from inflation and ensuring your family eats well regardless of what the news is saying. While everyone else is fighting over the same overpriced freeze-dried meals and the same 10 items every prepper blog recommends, you now know 17 foods that are cheaper, easy to store, and will actually still be available when the next crisis hits. Drop a comment telling me which of these you're stocking up on first. And next week, I am revealing the survival tools everyone thinks are essential, but are actually completely useless in a real emergency. You do not want to miss that one.